All right, so hey guys, today's video we're actually going to take a look at the palindrome problem. So this is a pretty common interview question if you're going to be looking for any sort of a developer, programmer type job. So we're going to look at how to solve this quickly and efficiently in Python. So first, let's take a look at what exactly is a palindrome. So just knowing the terminology is going to be a big part in solving this. So basically, a palindrome, in its most simple form, is a word that is spelled the same forwards and backwards. So race car is a pretty typical example, right? So race car, and if you go backwards, race car. So there's lots of these. Another one might be something like Bob, the name Bob. And this actually will show us that case doesn't matter for a palindrome. So it doesn't matter that that's an uppercase B. So that'll be something we'll need to take into account. So basically, as long as it's the same forwards and backwards, it's a palindrome. So we'll just make a function. We'll call it isPalindrome. And it's going to take some string s. And what this function will do is when you give it the string, it's going to return true or false, whether or not it's a palindrome. So first, let's just do the naive solution. We'll say return s equals equals. So we're checking for equality. This equals the reverse of s, right? One-liner. Save that. Run it over here in the Python shell. It doesn't do anything because you haven't told it to do anything. I guess we'll make a test script down here. Is palindrome race car. We should probably print that, shouldn't we? Okay, so race car is a palindrome. What about, like, I don't know, potato? That's not a palindrome. All right, so that's a very simple solution. But if you put something like this in there, all of a sudden it says it's not a palindrome. So we're gonna have to do a little something more. But what if we convert all the characters in there to lowercase before we check it? All right, cool, that fixed that. So that's it. If you just have one word that you want to check to see if it's a palindrome, bada bing, bada boom, that's it. Turn everything to lower, check to see if the forwards is the same as the backwards. Now, you might be tempted to try to do some sort of iteration thing where you're actually physically checking the beginning to the end. Don't go down that rabbit hole. It's going to take you a lot more thought and a lot more computation than you actually need. This is it. All right, but now let's look at a more interesting problem. So palindromes can exist in a wider sense too. They don't just have to be words. They could also be entire sentences. So I've got a couple of those here. Let's take a look. Oops. So let's take a look at those. So here's one. So Mr. Owl ate my metal worm. Notice that if you don't count the spaces and you don't count the punctuation, this is the same. Mr. Owl ate my metal worm. So that would be a palindrome. Let's take a look at another one. So here we go. Do geese see God? Do geese see God? So you can come up with lots of these. So how would we go about changing our solution to be able to check if these entire sentences are palindromes? It's actually going to be pretty simple. So I'm going to walk you through it step by step. Let's import the string module first. If you didn't know that this existed, it's got a bunch of really helpful tools for dealing with strings in Python. And before we even use it, what I'll do is I'll just print out what we're going to use so you can see it. We use something called string.punctuation. And you can see that that's just all the punctuation symbols that exist. So your period, comma, semicolon, colon, whatever. So we can use that up here. So instead of saying s equals s dot lower, let's actually use a list comprehension here. And we're going to say for C, like for character in S, we'll do lower on that character. So that would give us a list of every character in the string that's now lowercase. And we can use the same sort of reverse inequality thing with a list, right? So this would still work. We'll test that first. Oops, C is not defined. Oh, sorry. For C and S. Okay, there we go. So there's our list comprehension. I forgot the most important part. All right, so that still works. That's equivalent to what we had before. Now what we need to do is we need to filter out all the spaces and all the punctuation marks. So we'll just say if not C in string.punctuation plus that space character. And if you wanted to, you could probably use any of the space characters. So you use like /s/n/t. I'm just going to deal with the space right now. If you wanted to make this more robust, I'm sure there's something in the stream modulo to even do that for you. Actually, while we're here, let's just check. You can use the dir module to see what's inside, or the dir function to see what's inside of a module. Yeah, there's string.whitespace. Yeah, so I mean, why not? Might as well use it. All right, so that's our one-liner, and that should work. Give it a run. All right, so that's true. So let's just make a bunch of these. Try a couple of different things. Let's get these. And let's see, where did, oh, I guess I didn't save that one. Here's do geese see God? Murder for a jar of red rum, or for a jar of red rum. And we'll do one more. Was it a car or a cat I saw? And let's put a question mark at the end of that. Okay, so we should expect true for all of these except for potato. Oops. That's what happens when you don't just copy and paste. Sweet. So that's it. This is a pretty short and sweet video. Don't just memorize this, regurgitate it for a coding interview. Actually do try to internalize this. But this is one of those that you can actually just solve, and you could solve it in one line if you wanted, but you should really use two, because otherwise you're going to have duplicating work. This is a really short, slick solution. All right, well, I'll catch you in the next video.